Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, where today we've got all the joy of talking about a Manchester United loss against Copenhagen. Yay, what a fun way to start my birthday. But actually, I'm almost not that sad about the game almost, because I actually thought that United played quite well when we saw steps in the right direction. Ultimately, I think this game was all about key mistakes and key moments, whether that be officials or players. I think United were drastically costed by mistakes. So what we're going to do today is we're going to analyse the first 30 minutes of the game where I thought United played well. We're then going to look at a couple of mistakes. We're then going to look at how United dealt with playing with 10 men. And then, again, a couple of mistakes. Because for me, that was the theme of the game. And that's basically how the game went, so let's get into it. So before we continue into the video, a quick shout out to today's video sponsor, JerseyFifa.com, the home of all of the greatest football kits. Whether that be the new latest releases or the old classic ones like this, Jersey FIFA has something for everyone, and now you can check it out yourself using the link in the description down below. And also make sure to use code JerseyFifa for 10% off when you order. So for the first half an hour, Manchester United are set up in a 4-2-3-1 shape with Garnacho on the left hand side, Marcus Rashford on the right hand side, Christian Eriksen and McTominay in a double pivot. Now initially during the opening stages, Copenhagen are not going to put a ton of pressure on the ball. They weren't pressing super high up the pitch. Instead what they were doing was dropping off more into a diamond shape quite early, with kind of the striker playing more as a false 9, dropping deeper into a 10 position. One of the midfielders is occasionally going to join as well. But what United done was they looked to play with the ball at the back in a 2-4 shape, something I was asking for on the stream yesterday. And what this allowed United to do was 9 times out of 10 completely outnumber the Copenhagen players in this area. So when Copenhagen did step up and try and press a little bit more, United had 6 players here, 7 if we include Onana, against 4 Copenhagen players. And what I also liked about United in these areas was that it was really calm and really composed. Maguire was taking plenty of touches on the ball, Evans was doing the same, and United were able to manipulate Copenhagen. So let's say the ball's here, Copenhagen are going to shift across to try and get across like this. Wan-Bissaka shoots some good touches to protect the ball. He'd then come into this area, perhaps pop it inside to someone like Marcus Rashford, or play it across to Evans and would go out that way. It was really good play. And what this shape done was it forced United to have connection points throughout the team. In recent weeks, we've seen big gaps between players. What we saw here was 6 players in a deeper phase building possession, meaning there's nearly always a passing option. We then had, on this side, Marcus Rashford coming inside, and I thought he'd done a really good job of popping into spaces like this. And what he's going to do, he's going to get in this space, it's going to drag the Copenhagen defender out, and now Wan-Bissaka's going to go round. And again, I thought during the opening 35 minutes, there was a good understanding down this side. We saw something similar down the other side as well. The ball could go from Eriksen into Garnacho, the fullback's going to come out towards him, Dallow's going to go around the outside, get into space, and again, the ball's going to be played, and United look quite good. On other occasions, the fullback follows Dallow, and now Garnacho has room to carry the ball. So again, that's quite good from United, it's a good start. We also saw Bruno Fernandes picking up lots of spaces in here, because Copenhagen were kind of shifting their shape and changing about quite a lot. They found it quite difficult to pick up Bruno Fernandes, because we often saw Rashford, Bruno, and Garnacho all on this line here. It was quite difficult for Copenhagen to pick them all up, whilst also trying to back up their forwards in the press, which gave United a lot of success early on. We saw chances created for Rasmus Højlund, both tap-ins, but I love tap-ins from my striker. United were playing really well. In possession, I thought it was much improved. Defensively, I still have a question mark or two, but I thought on the ball, this was United's best performance of the season so far during that first 30 minutes or so of the game. What happens then, though? United are 2-0 up. And it's been a stop-start game to this point anyway because of different things off the pitch, etc. But something just changes for United. And at 2-0 up, we start being a little less patient at the back. Perhaps Copenhagen are squeezing a little bit higher, putting a bit more pressure on. But we're a little less patient. And we're also a bit keener to move the ball forward. And when that happens, you do just risk losing control of the game. And I felt United had that a little bit after the second goal. Not massively, but I did feel that the performance level dropped. But United were still fine. United were still comfortable. Ten Hag, to this point, has coached, in possession, a really good structure, which was tearing this Copenhagen team to shreds. Copenhagen could not get close to United. United were playing the ball out from the back really well, being patient in the middle third, creating this 2-4 shape, which could also eventually become a 3-2 as United squeezed higher, one of the fullbacks dropping deeper, the other then moving forward. United were playing really well. I like the look of the front three, it's all going great. But then we see kind of freak incidents happen, and this is where we're going to start talking about mistakes. First of all, first mistake, potential mistake from an official. I'm undecided on this one. We've all seen the challenge. Was it a red card? I think it's harsh. I think it's really harsh. I'm not sure. Let me know what you think in the comments, though. I'm sure you guys will have your say on that. We then got another error. Just minutes after the red card, this happens. Copenhagen score this goal. Now, I don't know if you've seen the rule recently, but if you stand in front of the goalkeeper, in line of the goalkeeper, and you're in an offside position, the goal will not stand. In fact, they're even harsher with that rule if you saw the Harry Maguire one the other day, where he doesn't even get involved in the play, he just challenges a header, but because he was offside, despite missing the header, the goal was ruled out. But this one stands. A mistake from an official. Is that the last mistake we're looking at for this half? Let me just double check. No, it's not. We've got another mistake before half time. Footballer is expected to dodge this ball from this close. Right. Now, just to clear up on this one, I don't think this is handball, and I also don't think the one which United got was handball either. So I'm not calling this as bias, by the way. I'm calling it as bad officiating and a bad rule. I don't see how a player is meant to get his hand out of the way here. But anyway, regardless, at this point, United are now down to 10 men. Things are going wrong. It's a problem. United have conceded those 2 goals. You've got the red card. You've got the goal with the player in an offside position. You've got the goal from the penalty. So Marcus Rashford has been sent off. Amrabat is going to come on for Eriksen at half-time, which I thought was a really good substitute. I was saying at half-time, if he doesn't make this sub, I want him out of the club because he had to make this change, and he did. Now, what I expected in the second half was United to park the bus and counter-attack. But actually, again, for the first 15 minutes of the half, we didn't see that. Again, we saw United controlling possession, often in the back three, with Evans, Maguire, and either Wan-Bissaka or Dalot. It would change. Also, sometimes a midfielder would be deeper. But then we had our double pivot, and then we had players pushing forward into the final third. It was almost like a 3-2-4 shape. And again, what United showed in this game, even with 10 men, was a real composure on the ball. A genuine composure. Copenhagen, again, couldn't get particularly close to United during the first 15 minutes of the second half. I think they were scared of leaving Rasmus Højlund 1-versus-1 with a defender. I think they always wanted at least 2 players around him. And the same with Garnacho as well. That meant that they struggled to apply pressure to the ball in other areas of the pitch. But I actually think the biggest thing was tactically United were a lot closer to each other. So again, it's a good setup from Ten Hag. But it was a much more patient approach. Ten Hag spoke before the game. He kept using the word dictate, dictate, dictate. We saw that in this game. United did dictate this game for large periods. 35 minutes in the first half, 10 minutes in the second half, 15 minutes, down to 10 men. That's quite impressive. So I thought United were doing good. Eventually, as is always going to happen when you're down to 10 men, you do start to lose control of the game. Copenhagen start to get on the ball and move you about. You're down to 10 men. You've got a lot of ground to cover. Life does become incredibly difficult. But I thought United were still good and still resilient in their defensive shape. So at this point, obviously, Copenhagen are pushing a lot of players forward because they're looking for a goal. So they're chucking men forward to try and find that. But United defended really compactly in a 4-4-1 shape. And what I liked about this shape was the lack of space between the lines. Considering United were down a man, they kept the gaps small. McTominay and Amrabat done a great job of covering ground. Bruno Fernandes' work ethic was incredible. Rasmus Højlund puts in a lot of work as well. But I also thought Garnacho had a really mature display. He's not used to starting a lot of games. He's not used to playing with 10 men. He's not used to this amount of minutes. But he done a really good job of helping out his fullback. So when El Yunusi would, for example, have the ball here and Ankerson's going to fly round, Garnacho done a really good job of either picking up El Yunusi and passing Ankerson on, or actually tracking him all the way at times and putting in a defensive shift. I don't think Garnacho is actually the most capable player defensively once in these positions. But what he is really hard working. Or he certainly was in this game. And again, I was really impressed with his mature performance. The other thing we should talk about also is Varane coming on and Maguire switching to the other side. But in general, I thought United were defending really well. The problem was United lost the ability to counter-attack and be threatening in that way. And players were starting to perform poorly on the ball. I thought Varane was really poor on the ball. I think he's actually been improved this season. But in this game, not up to scratch on the ball. Really poor. We'll see that for an error in a second. But United were just now struggling to get out. Rasmus Højlund is still challenging for these balls, but you can just see he's tired. He's struggling to win this. And as you kind of go a bit more direct, which again is fair enough down to 10 men, United go a bit more direct. You think you can just get up on this second ball, but you can't. Copenhagen outnumber you. They've got a bit more energy because they've got the spare man. Suddenly they start coming forward and picking holes where you've kind of tried to gamble forward. Then they come forward and you find yourself under pressure. And United are dropping deeper and deeper, which would be probably my main criticism of this game. Just dropping a little bit too deep, inviting a little bit too much pressure. But again, it comes down to mistakes for me. So we're seeing the 2 mistakes in the first half, which for me, arguably are official mistakes. 3 mistakes, sorry. Red card, offside goal, handball. Let me know your thoughts on all of them. They're all debatable. Apart from the offside, it is offside. Anyway, we move to this error here. Aaron Wan-Bissaka has the ball. You know, United have just dealt with an attack. We can see they're 3-2 up at the time. United have just dealt with an attack. Wan-Bissaka plays a ball back to Onana. And I say he plays a ball back. I'd say he plays a grenade back, perhaps. You do not want to see, as a goalkeeper, a ball flying to you at this height towards you. That is the last thing you want, particularly when Copenhagen are clearly going to squeeze high as well. And the ball comes bouncing. I mean, Onana actually does well, but again, if we look at Onana here, that is not the position you want your goalkeeper in trying to receive the ball. And he doesn't quite control it. Does it go off the pitch? The officials believe so. Goes out for a corner. It's bad from Wan-Bissaka. It's bad technically. The pass did not need to go, but didn't need to happen. Anyway, the corner comes into the box. United initially deal with it. United just about scrap the ball away, but now you're defending for your lives. You've got to switch on. You've got to pick up your man and be ready. Dalot knows this. He looks around. We can see here. We can see his face. We can see him facing towards us at the moment because he's scanning the box and looking at where the Copenhagen players are. So he is aware of number 12 here and whoever this guy is here. I can't see the number. But as the ball comes in, he just completely loses him. It's an awful mistake. It's so bad from Dalot. It's so bad from Dalot. And now it's 3-3. But the problems continue in terms of individual mistakes. So here United have actually played the ball out from the back quite nicely. We go Maguire to Dalot to Amrabat to Maguire to Raphael Varane. Raphael Varane takes this touch. Please tell me why the ball came to him on the floor. He went under that much pressure. You know, we can see the defenders a few yards away. Why is his first touch gone off the floor in the air? Technically, it's really bad. And then this clearance to try and make up for it when actually he arguably still had a little bit of time. It's a bad mistake. Then as we play it on, Copenhagen attack from that. They then have this effort, which is the worst shot you'll ever see. It's sliced and it's going to end up above me up here somewhere. It gets sliced out. It goes over to this corner. And United just don't really ever get back to this ball. Wan-Bissaka, could he get out? Maybe, although I dare say he's incredibly fatigued. Bruno Fernandes is also kind of just out of shot, but that way somewhere. Could he get there before the defender does? Again, it's difficult to criticise because United were down to 10 men and absolutely shattered. But again, it does lead directly to the goal. The goal literally comes from this ball into the box. And United lose the game. It's super harsh though, if you ask me. I think Ten Hag coached a really good game here. I thought with 11 men, United were by far the better team. 35 minutes, controlled that game. And that's the first time we can say that really this season. Controlled the game. The first goal we scored, for me, is the best goal we've scored under Erik Ten Hag this season. Maybe under Erik Ten Hag in general. It's a great goal. Even with 10 men, sorry. I think United dealt with it pretty well. I think United defended well for large periods. At the end of the day, though, you've got that Wan-Bissaka pass back, which is just so bad. Dalot then defends awfully. Raphael Varane then does awfully. And it's 2 big mistakes. Ten Hag ultimately was let down by the officials, you could argue. Let me know what you think in the comments. But also, just his players just let him down in the big moment. In the big moment. But to put a positive spin on it, I think United actually played well. I've seen a lot of signs here. Tactical changes, which look really good, which United should use more moving forward. So be positive, I guess, because I think it was a good performance. But again, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Apart from that, for today's video, we are finished. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.